Hello there, Godzoners and YouTubers. Acts number 27. And she reads, "And when it was determined that when she should sail into Italy, we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus' band, and entering unto a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Azera and Aristarchus and Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. And the next day we touched at Sidon, and Julius courteously entered Paul and gave him liberty to go unto his friends and refresh himself. And when he had launched from thence, we sailed under Cyprus, because the winds were contrary." I guess this means the winds were going in the wrong direction. "And when we had sailed over the sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Maria, a city of Lycia." Lord, the names in this thing. "And there the centurion found a ship to Alexandria, sailing into Italy, and he put us therein. And when we had sailed slowly many days, and scarce were come over against us Cnidus, the wind not suffering us, we sailed under Crete over against Salon, and hardly passing it, coming to a place where it's called the Fair Havens, nigh Waranthrunto was the city of Lycia. Now, when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous, because of the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them, and said unto them, Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only with the landing and ship, but also for our lives." And here we see Paul is making some profits about the boat and how the ship's going to end up. Nonetheless, the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship more than those things which were spoken by Paul. And because the heaven was not commendous to winter in. They said that place they were in, they didn't want to spend a winter there. It wouldn't would be a hard winter where they were, so they wanted to get moving. "And the more part advised to depart thence also, if by any means they might attain to Phineas, and there to winter." Have a better winter over there on that side, be warmer, I guess, "which is an haven of Crete, and liveth toward the southwest and northwest. And when the south wind blew softly, supporting that they had obtained their purpose, losing thence, they sailed close by the Crete." I don't know what the Crete is. Maybe it's a certain piece of land over there. Maybe it's a word for shore. I'm not sure. The Crete. "But not long after, there arose against a tempestuous wind, called Eurocolidian." I guess something like a cyclone or something, like a hurricane. I'm guessing what that means. "And when the ship was caught and could not bear up to the wind, we let her drive. I'm guessing they'd say they just let the boat, probably just tried to point the nose into it and let her go. Let the wind take the boat where it wanted to go. And running under a certain island. How do you run under an island? I don't know. She's about maybe supposed to be onto an island. After running under a certain island, which is called Claudia, we had much work to come by the boat, which when they had taken up, they used helps undergirding the ship. I guess they tore the bottom of the boat up, and fearing that they should fall into the quicksands, strake sail, and so were driven. Now, I guess these quicksands were something that this boat could get hung up in, where the boat could drag bottom, and they were feared that they would be marooned there and couldn't get the boat back out to open water, is what I'm getting out of that. And we, being exceedingly tossed with the tempest, the next day they lightened the ship, trying to get the weight off the ship, trying to help out with the storm hitting the ship so hard. And the third day we cast out our own hands the tackling of the ship. Even the guys were, the people that were sailing on the boat, not necessarily the crew of the boat, but everybody's helping, trying to get this boat light so this storm does not take these people to the bottom. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. They all thought they was fixing to die. The storm was staying dark for many days, winds blowing around. They done had a tough time. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the middle of them and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosed from Crete. Crete must mean shore. I'm not sure. And to have gained this storm and lost. And now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. For there stood by me this night an angel of God, whom I am and whom I serve. Let me read that again. For there stood by me this night an angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve. It's like, I guess Paul's saying this angel of God, Paul belongs to this angel of God. I guess he's kind of saying that this is his watchful angel. This is his angel that was assigned to him to watch over him, maybe. This angel of God, whose I am and whom I'm served, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Therefore, sirs, be of good cheer, that I believe God that it shall be given as it was told me. Howbeit, we must be cast upon a certain island. But then the 14th night was come, and we were driven up and down in Adria. About midnight the ship deemed that they drew near to some country, and sounded and found it 20 fathoms. And when they had gone a little further, they sounded again and found 15 fathoms. And they, fearing lest we should have fallen upon rocks, they cast 4 anchors, interesting, 4 anchors out of the stern, and wished for the day. Every time I see numbers like this on inanimate objects, I think there must be some type of code or something. It must mean something. Because, the book is full of acrostics and hidden meanings and all this type of code, mysterious things. Why the author thought it was necessary to mention us how many anchors were thrown out of the stern, which is a certain side of the boat. It probably has meaning later on in some other book. But I did want to mention that, because when I see stuff like that, I know it means something. Because if you're writing a book, most people would have just said that they anchored. But he's telling you that he threw out 4 anchors, a specific number of anchors, and out of a certain part of the boat, the stern. And they wished for the day. And as the shipmen were about to flee out of the ship, when they had let down the boat into the sea, under the color as though they would have cast anchors out of the foreship, Paul said unto the centurion and to the soldiers, Except these abide in the ship, ye cannot be saved. And then the soldiers cut off the ropes of the boat and let her fall off. And I guess what I'm getting out of that is some guys are thinking about jumping ship, some hands and whatnot, and he's telling these Roman dudes, if these guys flee, we're not going to be able to make it out of here. So I'm thinking they cut off the lifeboats to where these people couldn't escape. That's kind of what I'm getting. And while the day was coming on, Paul besought them after to take and meat, saying, This day is the 14th day that ye have tarried and continued fasting, having taken nothing. Wherefore I pray you to take some meat, for this is for your health, and there shall not an hair fall from your head. There shall not a hair fall from your head from any of you. And when he had thus spoken, he took bread and gave thanks to God in the presence of them all. And when he had broken it, he began to eat. Then were they all of good cheer, and they also took some meat. And we were all in the ship, 216 souls. This ain't no small ship. This boat's carrying like 200 people, so it's a big old ship. And when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship and cast out the wheat unto the sea. Cast out the wheat into the sea. Sounds like more code to me. And when it was day, they knew not the land, but they discovered a certain creek with a shore, unto which they were minded, if it were possible, to thirst in the ship. And when they had taken up the anchor, they committed themselves into the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and made toward shore. And falling into a place where 2 seas met, they ran the ship aground, and a forepart stuck fast, and remained unmovable, but the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. To me, it sounds like more code there. I don't know what it could pertain to, but a part of the ship is stuck, another part of the ship is not. And see, and the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. These people are thinking about jumping ship at this point. And the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from their purpose, and committed that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and get to land, and the rest on boards, and some on broken pieces of the ship. I guess they're using these broken pieces of the ship kind of as a raft trying to get to shore. And so it came to pass that they escaped all safe to land. Okay, I don't see any things other than these weird kind of over describing of certain elements of the saying, like the amount of anchors, what side of the ship it was cast out, those types of things. Other than to note that this is another water thing. You know, Christ had a story where he had his 12 on that ship, and they were all fearing this great tempest storm. And I see a similarity here between Paul. And now this is probably a couple of times that he's been on the ship, or a couple of times that he's kind of like likened himself to the acts of Christ. That being said, there's no need in this video getting longer than it need be. I didn't see anything that really rang a bell that would be contrary to other parts of the Word of God, so I'm going to end this video here. Okay guys, next time we come back we'll be in Acts 28. Peace out.